That machine can do what you say it can. Destroy it. Destroy it, George, before it destroys you.
Hey, so today I've got to tell you about one of my favorite old school sci-fi gems, The Time Machine from 1960. You know that feeling when you rewatch an old film and suddenly realize, wait, this movie was way crazier behind the scenes than I ever knew? Yeah, this one is exactly like that. Today, I'm about to walk you through 12 weird, surprising, and just plain fun facts about this classic. And trust me, some of these will make you go, no way, they really did that. All right, let's jump in. Fact 1. The Morlock's growls came from lions, pigs, and reversed audio. So here's what I think. The Morlocks are already creepy enough to look at, right? But you won't believe this. Their growls weren't human voices at all. The sound team mixed lion roars, pig squeals, and then ran some of the audio backwards to make that strange, unsettling tone that feels so alien. Imagine being in the sound booth deciding, this monster needs a bit more pig in it. Wild stuff. But it worked perfectly. Those noises still crawl under your skin even today.
Fact 2. The time machine prop was literally stolen after filming. Well, this is one of my favorite behind-the-scenes stories. After production wrapped, the iconic gold and red time machine, that gorgeous prop with the giant spinning disc, straight up disappeared from the studio. Someone stole the entire machine. To this day, no one knows who took it or how they even managed to get it out of the building without anyone noticing. Rumor has it some mega fan took it home. Others say a studio worker wanted the ultimate souvenir. Can you imagine waking up and realizing your prop department just lost the time machine?
Fact 3. Rod Taylor burned his hands doing his own stunts. Here's something most people don't know. Rod Taylor insisted on doing many of his own dangerous scenes, and during the future firestorm sequence, the set metal pieces got extremely hot. He grabbed them barehanded and actually burned his palms pretty badly. But instead of stopping, he wrapped up his hands and kept shooting like nothing happened. That's the kind of tough old Hollywood energy you just don't see anymore. Brave, but maybe a little stubborn too, right?
Fact 4. The Eloi were nearly played by gymnasts and dancers. So originally, the studio didn't want the Eloi to look like regular actors. They wanted to appear graceful, almost angelic, as if they've evolved past clumsiness. Their first idea was to cast real gymnasts and ballet dancers so the Eloi would move with perfect fluidity. Imagine those serene future people doing flawless spins every time they sat down or stood up. It would have looked like a totally different film, kind of like a sci-fi ballet. They eventually changed their minds, but it's fun to imagine how different the movie could have been.
Fact 5. Yvette Mimieux, who played Weena, was only 17 during filming. She wasn't old enough to attend her own movie premiere, and she couldn't work long hours or film certain scenes. The studio quietly avoided mentioning her real age so they wouldn't run into restrictions. Classic Hollywood move. But despite being so young, she brought such a warm, innocent energy to Weena that it's hard to picture anyone else playing her. Can you imagine being 17 and starring in a massive sci-fi movie? Fact 6. The melting mannequin was real wax, and it reeked. You know that incredible time-lapse shot where the store mannequin ages, melts, and transforms as decades fly by? They actually used real wax and heated it with hot lamps until it started dripping and warping on camera. No CGI, no tricks, just melting wax. But the part almost no one talks about is that it smelled awful. The heat made the wax give off this weird chemical smell, so everyone on set had to just deal with it while waiting for the perfect melting moment to finish. Anything for art, right? Fact 7. The Morlock suits were hot, heavy, and almost unbearable. Those blue Morlock creatures look rubbery and strange, and that's because the actors inside were stuffed into thick foam rubber suits with barely any air circulation. Under the bright studio lights, the temperature inside the suits skyrocketed. Some actors fainted more than once because they couldn't breathe. The crew had to keep pulling Morlocks out of their suits so they wouldn't pass out again. So if the Morlocks look slow, sluggish, or clumsy in some scenes, trust me, they were basically cooking inside those costumes. Fact 8. The time-lapse window took weeks of stop-motion work. Here's what I think. The shot where George watches time race outside his window is one of the most magical effects in the whole movie. But tiny effects like that cost huge amounts of time. The crew spent weeks doing frame-by-frame adjustments, moving leaves, adjusting clouds, changing shadows, and shifting props a tiny bit at a time to make the world outside look like it was evolving. If they made a mistake, they'd have to redo a giant chunk from scratch. It's one of those old school effects where you just sit back and admire the dedication.
Fact number 9. The future sky was made from cotton and paint. You won't believe this, but that dreamy, glowing future sky was literally made from cotton stretched across an enormous frame. They sprayed layers of paint over the cotton and then shined lights behind it to create that surreal, glowing horizon. Simple materials, brilliant imagination. Before digital tools existed, filmmakers had to turn basic things like cotton, paint, and light into entire universes. And honestly, that creativity still holds up beautifully. Fact 10. The main character was basically H.G. Wells in disguise. Here's a fun secret. In early drafts, the character George Wells was meant to literally be H.G. Wells himself, traveling through time using the machine he wrote about. The studio eventually dialed this back because they thought audiences might get confused, but the idea never really disappeared. If you rewatch the movie with the mindset that George is basically H.G. Wells, suddenly a lot of little choices in the story feel deeper and more playful. It's like a hidden Easter egg hiding in plain sight. Fact 11, Rod Taylor accidentally knocked out a Morlock actor. Well, this one always makes me laugh. During the underground fight scene, Rod Taylor threw a punch with a bit too much enthusiasm and actually hit one of the Morlock actors right in the jaw. The guy went down instantly. Rod apologized like crazy, but the crew kept filming because, honestly, the moment looked great on camera. Makes you wonder if one of the takes in the final cut is the real punch.
Fact 12. The ending was rewritten because test audiences hated the original. So originally, the film had a sadder ending. George was supposed to stay in the present and leave Weena and the Eloi behind, never returning to the future. But test audiences watched it and basically said, nope, that's wrong. They wanted George to go back and be with the people he cared about. So the studio rewrote the ending to show him returning to the future with 3 mysterious books missing from his library, a detail that fans still debate to this day. What do you think he took?
Well, that's it, my friend. Those are the 12 weird and wonderful facts that make The Time Machine 1960 even more fun once you know the full story behind it. It's one of those movies that just gets better the more you learn about how it was made. If you enjoyed hanging out and talking old movies like this, feel free to stick around. Hit that subscribe button if you want more classic Hollywood stories, behind-the-scenes secrets, and those fun little details nobody else talks about. Thanks for spending your time with me today. See you in the next one.